This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
For your information, this man was in Paris the night of the terrorist attacks. Hear his story next. It's the midweek edition of FYI. If you're watching on channel 513 in the Hazleton area in HD, what's up? I'm Ken Kara. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Here's what's happening in our area. These headlines are from FYI and the Hazleton Standard Speaker. An investigation is underway into a hit and run early this morning in West Hazleton. It happened around 1 a.m. in the area of North Warren Street and Monroe Avenue. A 20-year-old Hazleton man was struck and the vehicle did not stop. According to police, witnesses reported that a light-colored, possibly silver or gray SUV struck the victim while he crossed the street. It then fled north on North Broad Street. The victim suffered traumatic injuries to his head, face, pelvis, and back. He was transported to Lehigh Valley Hospital. The fleeing vehicle is believed to have front-end damage from the impact. Anyone who witnessed the incident or who may have information is asked to call West Hazleton Police at 570-455-3733, or you can dial 911. John Keegan lost his bid for an elected seat on Hazleton City Council by just 14 votes. However, Keegan will have the chance to serve the city until the end of the year. Yesterday, Luzerne County President Judge Richard Hughes III issued an order appointing Keegan to serve the remainder of the term left vacant by the resignation of Keith Bast. It's a memorial with a strong message, and it will be making a stop in our area very soon. The DUI Victims Moving Memorial will be at Public Square in downtown Wilkes-Barre tomorrow from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. The memorial features a 25-foot wall printed with 1,000 names of DUI victims. It is making a stop to remind the public of the dangers of drinking and driving and to celebrate safely this holiday season. Tomorrow is the last day for Schuylkill County residents to register for a free Thanksgiving dinner. The Knights of Columbus, Schuylkill County 431, in conjunction with civic groups and the public, is offering free meals for pickup or delivery on Thanksgiving Day. There are no applications or income requirements. The meals can be picked up at the Pottsville Knights of Columbus, 106 North 6th Street, or be delivered. To order, you can call 570-691-1429 or 570-516-9514. Also, volunteers with the Tamaqua Salvation Army will provide a free Thanksgiving dinner at the community center or via delivery for local residents. The meals will be served 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. For delivery, you can call 570-668-0410 or 570-668-1234. Earlier this week, we talked via phone with a man from Drifton who was in Paris last Friday during the attacks. Today, we talk with him in person in our studio. Lisa Sugart has the story.
John Dragalis was in France when the bombings happened on Friday. He is now back in the United States. He came back on Sunday. So John, we talked with you earlier via the phone about your experience being there when this all took place. Now that you're back home and had the ability to absorb and watch the news, what did you think of the whole experience that you had in France?
I was kind of humbled by it. I always thought that there was a lot more good in the world than there was bad, and seeing all of the French people take in strangers off the streets to get them off the streets, and seeing how we took people in our hostels to get them off the streets. There's going to be bad in the world always, but apparently there's a lot more good, and that's what I took away from that, and I found comfort in that.
Now, you were touring earlier that day. You were even at the restaurant that was attacked several hours ahead of time. So take us to where you were exactly when you heard that the attacks had happened.
I was laying in my bunk bed in the hostel, and my phone started to just start chirping left and right. And I was looking at the phone, and I started to see people were like, "Are you okay? There's an attack." I'm going, "Wait, what's an attack? There's an attack." I started Googling to find out what's happening. And so I went downstairs, and I went to the head of the hostel, and he goes, "Yeah, there was a bombing at the stadium," and he showed me on the map, and there was a shooting here, and there was hostages being taken here. And he was completely like it's a Tuesday, and I was really kind of shocked by that because I'm still trying to take in everything that was happening. But as the night went on, he was completely calm, relaxed, and I kind of got comfort out of that. So that's what I started to talk to the other people from around the world and see what they're thinking about and how things were going.
And you were traveling alone, so that was a difficult scenario. I know you said you've traveled many times by yourself like that. So did that make it any more, worrisome or scary?
Not so much. I mean, I was more worried because of my friends and girlfriends back home that I couldn't, I'm cool, I'm okay, but you could tell them that till you're blue in the face and they're still going to worry and not sleep and wait until I come home type situation. So I was more upset that I couldn't let the people back home really know that I was okay. But other than that, I was like, it happens, stay safe, stay home, keep my head down, and that's what I had to do.
So basically, we were talking, and this kind of renewed your faith in humanity?
Yes, because like I said, I always thought that there was more good in the world than there is bad, and how the French people handled themselves, I was blown away by. Like I said, I mentioned earlier in the week that the next morning, kids were back playing in the park, people were sitting back at cafes eating and having a good time, and there was the memorial in towns, and they had respect and solemn at those memorials, but the rest of the city went right back to living. So, I mean, if there was a point of that terrorist attack was to cause fear in Paris, they really badly failed, because I did not see fear. I saw hope and moving forward and trying to put this behind us in that type of situation.
Have you been in contact with anybody there since you came home?
Yes, I'm still in contact with a lot of the friends that are there. Most of the friends that I met have already left Paris. There's still some that are in France, but they're in southern France. And I asked them, and they're like, yeah, we're enjoying my trip, and the cities seem to be back together. And apparently Paris is still in a state of emergency. And from what I'm getting told from my friends that are in southern France, it's as if it was before their state of emergency. So I kind of like the fact that even though the government's doing their thing and getting the people they need to get, it's not really affecting the people that are trying to live their lives and enjoy their vacations and stuff like that.
Now that you're home and you're hearing that ISIS is making threats for the United States, what's going through your mind with that?
I mean, ISIS's whole point is to sort of spread terror. And I mean, there's a possibility what they're going to do is going to happen. But right now, I'm just considering that this is just, threats trying to piggyback on the attack in Paris and try to spread the fear as much as possible. I'm looking at them like a 2-year-old child having a tantrum in the parking lot, and you just kind of have to ignore them until they calm down type situation. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. But right now, I can't live my life in fear worrying that something's going to happen. And I have friends in DC, and I want to go visit them. I'm going to go visit them with no worries that, something will happen.
And you plan to go back to Paris?
Absolutely, as well as Italy and London as well.
All right. Well, John, thank you for sharing your story with us. We know you were in a tough position at that time, but it seems like a lot of good came out of a lot of bad.
I think a lot it did, yes. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, Lisa, for that interview. Well, coming up later in sports, Joe Madden collects another award. Dave Seaman and I will talk a lot about football. That's all during the Sportscast. Up next, the former fire chief offers us some holiday safety tips to keep all of our families safe.
Time now for FYI News 13 weather.
It's going to get cold this weekend, so believe it or not, we should appreciate the weather we are having right now. Here's our local forecast from the National Weather Service. Tonight, showers mainly after 3 a.m. Our low will be 49 degrees. There will be a southwest wind from 13 to 15 miles per hour. New precipitation amounts between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch are possible. Let's go to the 4-day outlook now. Showers on Thursday will get up to 60 degrees. New precipitation amounts between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch possible. On Thursday night, showers likely, mainly before 11 p.m. Mostly cloudy, our low will be 39 degrees. Friday, mostly sunny, high of 46 degrees. Friday night, partly cloudy, low of 31. On Saturday, partly sunny, but we're only going to get into the mid-40s. Saturday night, we'll get down to 28 degrees, 30% chance of snow showers. Sunday, partly sunny with a high of only 37. And then Sunday night, partly cloudy, our low will be 24 degrees. As you just saw, the colder weather is moving in and the holidays are fast approaching. That means many people will be using heaters, fireplaces, and of course, many will also be decorating their homes inside and out. It's the perfect time to revisit some fire safety advice that could save your life. Lisa Sugart has more.
Pleased to welcome back retired West Hazelton Fire Chief Bob Ward, who is also an instructor teaching fire safety on both the state and local level. So We wanted to talk about some misconceptions people have. I know prevention is key for you all these years that you've been a firefighter, 40 years as a matter of fact. So what are some of the misconceptions that people have about fires possibly breaking out in their home?
Well, the first thing, Lisa, is people doesn't believe it's going to happen to me. It's always going to happen to somebody else. That's false. Fire could happen to anybody at any time, but prevention is the best cure for any fire. We want to practice fire safety within the house. We used to tell you had 10 minutes to get out of the house once you had discovered a fire. That's false. You have less than 2 minutes to get out of the fire, out of the house right now. But what we can do is we could practice fire safety at home. One is sit down with the family and draw a plan from each room in your home, 2 ways to get out of the house. Then practice it. Make sure we have working smoke detectors. Test them on a monthly basis. If you don't have a smoke detector in your house, go to your local fire station. They have them. They're free of charge. But by all means, have working smoke detectors. They should be on each level of occupancy and in each bedroom of the house. Practice your fire safety. When my young boys were young at the house, when we used to practice fire safety, I'd come home at 2 o'clock in the morning and set the smoke alarm off and see what they would do. You want to compartmentize your house when you're sleeping. Make sure the bedroom doors are closed. If there's fire outside the bedroom door, feel the door. If it's hot, don't open it. Look for a second means of escape, which could be the window. If you're living on the second floor or in the third floor, make sure you have chain ladder or a way to get out of that room. But fire safety is very, very important, and we have to practice, practice, practice. And unfortunately, adults don't believe fire could happen to them. The philosophy I always said is, when we were in school, we had fire drills at school. And when the last time you saw a school burn down? But we have house fires every day, and people are dying and getting injured in house fires, and we don't practice fire safety within our own homes. And it's time the general public wises up, if that's the word I have to use, and starts practicing fire safety in the house, because it could mean your life or the life of your family. And once you're out of the house, you want to go to a central meeting place. It could be the backyard where the tree is, your father's car out in the front of the house, or a neighbor's porch. Make sure everybody goes to the same place, and then call 911. But never go back into the house again until the fire department gets there.
If you had some magical key or something that you could make people listen to this, what would you do? Like, how do you get them to listen, and where do they go for the information if maybe they say, well, I just didn't know what to do?
Contact your local fire station. They'll be glad to help you. They'll come and do a home surveys for you. They'll help you devise a fire escape plan from your house. There's a lot of things the fire department can do to help you out. But most important, there's a lot of free information on the internet concerning fire safety, the NFPA, the Red Cross, State Fire Commission's website. There's a lot of good information out there. Use it. And if you still don't have enough information, contact me. I'll be glad to help you.
All right, a very good source. Thanks so much,
You
Chief.
bet.
Hopefully people will stand up and pay attention, and that you'll never have to respond, or any of our firefighters around here will never have to respond to a fatal fire in this area.
Well, I always say this, for every fire that we respond to, it's a job that we didn't complete. We didn't prevent that fire from happening. And our job now is to try to prevent fire from happening.
All right, good advice from retired West Hazelton Fire Chief Bob Ward.
Thanks again, Lisa. Time now for the home of the week. This week's featured home is at 39 Inverness Lane in Eagle Rock Resort. This custom 3-bedroom contemporary is perfect for your second or full-time home. It has a custom kitchen, open floor plan, exquisite master suite, home theater with custom seating, home office, and more. You must see it to believe it. All furnishings are negotiable. It's listed at $375,000. For details, you can call Nancy Dunlap, Eagle Rock Resort Real Estate Company, 570-384-1361. A packed sportscast is coming up after this break.
This is FYI News 13 Sports.
Joe Madden News Alert. The Cubs manager and Hazelton native has been named the National League Manager of the Year. This is the third time he's been named Manager of the Year. He received the honor twice in the American League with the Tampa Bay Rays. Madden led a young Cubs team to 97 wins in the regular season and all the way to the National League Championship Series. He was asked what was the most memorable part about this past season.
It's just the way we came together as a group. It's not it's unusual and it's not easy to walk into a situation like we did, not really knowing anyone, whether it's players, really the front office, ownership, and then extracting the kind of year that we did. I mean, to me, that really stands out. From a personal perspective, it validates the approach that I took intentionally in the beginning, and I've talked about it all the time, building relationships. And then it also speaks to the quality of our players and the coaching staff. But more than anything, it's about the approach in regards to getting the group together. And that really stands out to me, that we were successful with the philosophy and the concepts and having them work.
Madden also quoted Michael Scott from The Office during his teleconference. Always a good time with Joe Madden. One of his players, third baseman Chris Bryant, also received a big-time postseason award. He was named the NL Rookie of the Year. Well, 2 scores on the FYI Standard Speaker scoreboard. The Marion Phillies lost in the PIAA Single A girls volleyball semifinals to North Star, so Marion falls just short of the state final, but they did make the Final Four. They did win the District 11 championship, and they did win the Schuylkill League championship, so congratulations to the Phillies on a great year. The Penn State Hazleton women's basketball team, they suffered their first loss of the season on Tuesday. They will try to bounce back on the road on Wednesday. Now to our feature presentation, sports commentary with Dave Seaman. It's Dave Day in HD. We've come so far, Dave, from when we first started over in another room, kind of in a corner when we started on FYI. And here we are right now and excited because we always have a lot of sports topics to talk about. And Dave, this week, Marion Catholic football team going for the district championship. We talked about that crazy year in the Anthracite League with different teams beating others at different times of the year. Marion got another shot at Monterey area after they lost to their rival Tamaqua. KJ Snur injured in that game. He was all right against Monterey area as they get the victory. And now, Dave, they'll go against the top-seeded Tri-Valley in the District 11 Single A championship game. I haven't seen a lot of Tri-Valley this year, but it seems they'd be the favorites at least going into this game.
I do like Marion's chances, though, because Marion's played the Anthracite League. As we said, they knock each other off, but playing that tough schedule week in, week out, I think that prepares the Colts for a game against Tri-Valley. Tri-Valley traditionally has had a strong Class A program. I believe they beat Marion a few years back in the playoffs, so maybe some of the older Marion players will remember that. So it makes for a good game, but again, Marion's experience in playing bigger games, it should pay dividends this weekend.
And Dave, when Marion's clicking, I've said it all season long, I like their balance. They can run the football, they can throw the football, very good quarterback in Ethan Kaczynski, good on the defensive side of the ball. I think the same thing, they could definitely hang in there. We did an interview with Stan DeCossi, going to be on Enough Coming Out of Left Field, where he reminisced about his 1990 state championship team where nobody gave them a chance to win, and right there you saw it. So Marion Catholic will look to get a big victory there. Let's move on now to Big Ten football. Let's put up the Big Ten East standings up on your screen. This is where they stand right now. Dave, in 2 weeks, where do you think all of this will be? Because this weekend you have Michigan at Penn State, Michigan State at Ohio State, and then next week Ohio State will visit the Big House, Penn State will close out at Michigan State. I think Ohio State's still there at the top when all the smoke clears.
I agree. I think Ohio State, talent-wise, they're as good as anybody in the country. They've been there before. Still waiting for the Buckeyes to put it all together in one game or something like that. They've shown flashes of that, but they're the top team. And then you would say Michigan State, based on experience, but again, it depends on the health of their quarterback. Connor Cook is an outstanding quarterback, maybe the best quarterback in the Big Ten over the past few seasons collectively. And we'll see what happens, but that's, like they say, why they play the games.
You know, Ohio State looks beatable. I think we've said this before. It's just a matter of who is going to do it, and they're running out of weeks right now. Penn State plays a Michigan team this weekend, Dave. They almost beat them at the Big House last year. Michigan makes a few plays, down the stretch. We talk about clock management in that game as well, and they beat Penn State. Looked at Michigan against Indiana this week, and they had to survive in overtime. Penn State's been so good at home this year, and you would hope or maybe think this might be the weekend after the bye. Penn State could put everything together that they've done well this season and maybe get the win over Michigan. I think they beat the Wolverines at home.
I agree. I do think they're going to beat Michigan. I just think Michigan's had a couple games where they've kind of skated on the edge. Against Minnesota, they were lucky to get out of that game with a win. Last week, their offense showed a lot of flash. Their offense hasn't been particularly good all season, but their defense has been stingy. Last week, Indiana was healthy for the first time, and we always said Indiana was going to be a formidable foe once they get all their pieces. Howard was back at running back, and Nate Sudfeld, their top-notch quarterback, was healthy, and he had a big game against the Wolverines. So the Wolverines might be coming in a little bit tired to Penn State and everything, but there's a lot to play for Michigan, and they are coached by Jim Harbaugh. Not going to be a pushover by any means for Penn State. Penn State has to have its A game. They have to have the clock management, like you said. They have to be able to run the football. And I think if they get those things in order, I think they could really handle Michigan on Saturday.
Yeah, Dave, I don't think you can afford even the coaching mistakes where James Franklin's been apologizing in press conferences after games. I think the coaches, like you said, everyone, it has to be an A game to get that victory, but it's very, very doable. The Temple Owls, Dave, they lose to Southern Florida this weekend. Notre Dame, all of a sudden, I mean, not that they're losing, but Stanford takes a loss. People are questioning if they'll get into the college football playoff. For the two teams we've been talking about, how do they finish the season strong and feel good about themselves, well, Temple and Notre Dame?
Well, I think Temple still has a shot to win their conference. It's going to be hard now. They still have to play Memphis. I believe if they win one of their remaining two conference games, they will get into the conference championship game. Could be a rematch, or it could be a game against Houston. Once Houston is approaching the top 10, they're one of the few undefeated teams in the country, maybe a little bit underranked. Or it could be a team they play against, like Navy. Navy's only loss is against Notre Dame, so Navy's been strong all season. As for the Irish, I think the Irish just got to keep winning. They take care of business. I really believe you're going to see them in the playoff.
Dave, we always appreciate your time. More to talk about next week. It's Wednesday, and here's some delicious alliteration. It's signature steak night at Bottlenecks. All of their signature steaks are only $9.95, plus bottomless soup and salad for only $2.95.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. First tonight, the Nuremberg Community Players will be hosting a karaoke night, all to benefit Brandon's Forever Home. The event is Saturday, November 21st from 7 to 10 p.m. at their theater located on Hazel Street. Don't miss your chance to be on the stage for this all-ages event. Admission cost is a monetary donation to the Brandon's Forever Home. For info, call 570-384-4309. Our next announcement, the Tamaqua Community Arts Center will be hosting a night dedicated to the music of Chris Banditelli, featuring Wonton on Saturday, November 21st from 7 to 11 p.m. The center is located at 125 Pine Street. For info, just call 570-668-1192. And finally, the Valley Kiwanis Club will be sponsoring the annual lighting of the Valley Community Christmas Tree Saturday, November 28th at 6 p.m. The location is the Triangle at the rear of Gould Shursade. There will be refreshment, song, and community spirit, topped off with a visit from Santa. Anyone interested in joining the club can attend their monthly meetings held the first and third Saturday of each month at 8 a.m. at Tom's Kitchen. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Mike Senek, formerly of Eckley, memorial service will be held at a later date. Bryson Rocco Gentile, friends may call Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Firo Funeral Home. Michael William Kiba of Westchester, memorial mass is Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Assumption BVM Church in West Grove. Friends may call at the church from 9 to 9:45. Arrangements are by the Folk and Greico Funeral Home. Diane L. Lewandowski of Beaver Meadows, funeral is Thursday at 10 a.m. in the chapel at Calvary Cemetery. Friends may call Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Firo Funeral Home. And Charles Herrick of Foster Township, the McHugh Wilczek Funeral Home will announce complete arrangements.
So there's Christmas music playing here at SSPTV, so there's that, and I'm still dreaming of a bowl of stuffing. I'm going to go deal with all of this holiday stuff. You go enjoy your evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy, everyone.